question is, if you were doing a time capsule or putting something away for future generations, maybe it's 100 years away, maybe it's 50 years away. It could be anything you want. 20 years, we'll say 150 years. What would you put in that capsule if you want to put something with value to it as a money, quote unquote money? Something that has some purchasing power. Something that has some power where we'll just say 50, nice round number. 50 years from now, your children will open up this capsule, or your grandchildren, or your great-grandchildren, whatever the case may be, will open up this capsule, and then they'll have this wealth preserved for them. It's been preserved from you and your spouse, or whatever the case may be. Would you put in cash or gold and silver? What would you put in? Would you put this? Would you put this, or maybe 10 of these, or 100 of these $100 bills? So 50 years from now, they're going to open up this capsule, this case, this box, however you got it packaged, and they'll discover this along with whatever else you want to leave for them. Could be anything else, but we're talking monetary. So they'll open it up and they'll have a bunch of these. Do you think that'd be the best choice, or would you rather do a whole bunch of these? These are 1 ounce silver ounce. It's a 1 ounce round. Would you rather have this packed away for your children? Or you could do something like these. And this is small. I'll try to get it in there for you. I don't know. It's a 10th ounce round. That's what it is. So it's 10th ounce of gold. So just roughly monetary value right now, this says it has $100 value. $100 purchasing power today in 2024. This here, this is a 10th ounce gold. Roughly, give or take, this has $220, maybe a little more value to it. That you could go in, get cash if you need cash to buy with, to purchase from a store or whatever else. Or you can just swap or barter with someone with this for something else that's of high value that they have. Or this right here, that 1 ounce silver round, it doesn't matter if you have, 10 of them, 100 of them, 1,000 of them, they have the same value. Each one of these individual has the same value to them. So what is it right now? Right now you could probably get one of these for $25, $26, somewhere around there, give or take. It depends on what the Walmart, the paper silver and the paper gold is being pushed around and being purchased and being traded. That is the spot price. And eventually that will fall, in my opinion, but there is a real value. The real value, physical value, if you have this, it's worth so much more than just having paper gold, paper silver. But anyways, so on that, I would choose gold and silver, hands down, because 50 years from now, that gold and silver is going to have a lot more purchasing power than a bunch of these. And you know that, because it's inflation. This inflates away, and the gold and the silver do not inflate away. They just don't. Because they're based on the dollar, the Federal Reserve note, the US dollar, that constantly gets printed or digitized. They duplicate, counterfeit over and over digits. So you get that? That's just my take on it. That's my push on it. That's my saying. So anyways, I want to talk a little more in depth on what's going on with this, because with digital money, that's one thing. Digital money, you can't see, you can't hold, you can't. It's just you go look on your bank account on the computer or your phone or whatever, or you get statements in the mail on paper that says what you have in the bank, what you have, quote unquote, in the bank. Even though you've given it to the bank, you've lent it to the bank, it's no longer yours, it's the bank's, but they have a ledger that says this is in your account. So that you can't touch, you can't hold, you can't grab, you can't just run out the door in an emergency and you have it. And yes, you can run out with your bank card or your credit card or whatever, but there's not a guarantee. There is not a guarantee that that thing is going to work. Wherever you are, whatever you're trying to purchase, there's not a guarantee it's going to work. There's limitations to where you can do it, how much you can spend, how many days you can spend so much, that kind of stuff. It's all over the board. How much limitations there are. But no, don't worry about it. Just know there's limitations to that. There's not limitations to having gold and silver, and even that paper currency that I showed you, that dollar, cash. There's not, but the cash, just like the digits, lose value. And I've said this before, like an ice cube on a hot summer day outside. That fast. It goes away. The purchasing power of that item. The gold and silver, it does not. And now, it's easier to, if you have gold and silver, it's easier to take it to a coin dealer, gold and silver dealer, even a pawn shop if you have to. If you're down on your luck and you have to, I don't recommend that, but a gold and silver dealer, preferably, and you can liquidate it. You can sell the gold and the silver and get the cash that you think you need or you want to purchase the items from places that will only accept cash. You can do that. You can do that fast. It's easy. It's quick. Said and done. It's actually easier, in my opinion, to grab the gold and silver and go to a gold and silver dealer, a coin dealer, and liquidate back into cash, back into the fiat currency. It's easier to do that than it is to find places and buy the gold and silver itself, because you got to trust dealers, you got the relationship, you got to figure it out, and then that's just the opening. But then, do they have enough? Do they have enough gold? Do they have gold on hand? Do they have enough silver on hand? There's times, especially over this last couple of years and prior to this, that they're out. Yes, we can get it to you. You pay me now, and I'll get it to you. It'll be here in 3 weeks, or I'll have it shipped to you, and you'll have it within 6 weeks. Or they put a freeze on us for whatever reason. We're not going to get the silver. We'll get the gold, or vice versa, and that is not coming until such and such, which could end up being three months from now, whatever. But it's always easier, in my opinion, to sell gold and silver than it is to sell it, to trade it, to just get rid of it for this junk fiat currency than it is to trade your junk fiat currency for gold and silver. So that's just how quick and easy it is. That's how liquid gold and silver are. That's how fast they are. Don't make that stop you at all to investing in gold and silver. Investing, well, maybe that's a bad term, but purchasing gold and silver, to being part of gold and silver, which is real money. It's constitutional money. It's God's money. It's the real thing. It's real money. This paper stuff is not. It's banker money. It's Wall Street money. It's not even money. It's just fiat currency. So, anyways, with purchasing, on the same note, the same digital thing, with purchasing digital items and their subscription services, think of this: books, music, movies, video games, etc. Once you pass along, once you die, once you become non-existent, and you want to pass some things down, or you think, yeah, my children will get these, or my grandchildren, because these books are great. I really, I've learned a lot growing up, and my children or my grandchildren would prosper from these books. Whatever the case is, or the entertainment from the movies, or from whatever. Doesn't matter. But once you pass, once you're gone, and all you have are subscription-based things, so you've bought digital movies, you've bought digital books, you've bought digital video games, you've bought, digital whatever, and now what? Are your children going to be able to just sign on to your stuff and access those books, those games, those movies, those whatever easily? Or would it be a lot easier if you owned the physical books, like these behind me and beside me, or the physical movies, DVDs, whatever you want to call the physical music, the CDs, the cassette tapes? I say that, I cringe a little bit, but the CDs, even the LPs. That once you pass, these are items that are passed down that future generations can have. So if you have subscription service, or if you bought digital items, think about this. You're not going to have this stuff, like I said, unless you bought digital items. But even then, you bought all these digital movies, all these digital books, all these digital fill in the blank. What happens? 20 years, 40 years, longer than that from now. Will your children, your grandchildren, your future generations still be able to access those movies, those books, those whatever? Are they still going to be able to access it? Will there still be, or is there no longer going to be a Vudu or a Hulu or a Venmo or a Spotify or a Pandora or SoundCloud, Kindle Unlimited, whatever, fill in the blank? Is there going to be a bookmate, that kind of stuff? Is there still those things still going to exist? So they're still going to be on there that supposedly you own because you purchased them? So 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years from now, your children, grandchildren will be able to access that stuff? Who knows? But I do know this. If you own all these books, you own physical books like that, and physical items, like I said, your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, future generations, will be able to access those items. Will be able to. And they will. Period. There's no question in it. So why do you leave the questions? The question of what's the physical dollar going to be worth, the physical $100 bill going to be worth 50 years from now, if I'm going to store it away in a time capsule, or do I want to do the smart thing, and say I'm going to put gold in there or silver in there? Same thing. So along the same lines, renting your house or your apartment, yes, people have to rent. They can't own all the time, but if you are able to own and all you still do is rent, you got to think about that too. I mean, if you rent a house for 40 years, there's nothing to pass along to future generations. If you purchased one and get it completely paid off, or almost completely paid off, or even 3/4 of the way paid off, by the time you die or pass, that's something that future generations can have. You pass that along, the land that it's on, that kind of stuff. Along the same lines with renting, leasing a vehicle, a car, a truck, whatever. It's the same thing. Don't be doing that, in my opinion. Purchase real hard physical items. So people that live like this and they live off subscriptions only, they're renting only, they're leasing only, they're like, no big deal. I don't need these things. It's on Spotify. I don't need these items because I belong to Amazon, so I just bought the digital books and I have a Kindle or I have an iPhone or I have whatever. So I don't need these real physical burdensome items, like all these things. Because if I move, I have to move them all. Well, the people that live like that, in my opinion, they own nothing. I mean, seriously, not just my opinion. They really own nothing. They own nothing. They have nothing for future generations, like I spoke of. They have nothing to sell. And in time of emergencies, if they have to somehow liquidate or get some cash for whatever it is, an emergency, you can't sell that stuff, those digital items, those subscriptions. It doesn't matter. You can't. You don't own them. You have nothing to barter with. You have nothing to trade with. They really have nothing that is theirs. They really have nothing at all that is theirs, and when they pass, they have nothing for future generations. I mean, that's it. That's my opinion. That's all I have to say. That's all I want to talk about. But if you like this, subscribe. And as always, stay vigilant, protect yourself, to health, keep well.